Today, we're diving deep into bloating. Not just the surface level tips you've heard a million times, but the real root causes that nobody's talking about. We're going to cover why that supplement you bought might not be working, what your menstrual cycle has to do with your belly, and why treating SIBO with antibiotics is a huge mistake. If you find this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps get this information to more women who need it. And if you want to go even deeper, head over to my website where you can join one of my free live trainings. I'll drop the link in the description below. All right, let's get into it. So before we get into the more complex stuff, it's important to point out that bloating is your body telling you something is wrong. Maybe it comes with cramping too, or maybe you run to the bathroom, or it might even back you up for days. Let's talk about the 3 foundational habits that most people completely overlook. And I get it. They sound boring and simple, but I promise you, these 3 things have helped countless women reduce their bloating by 50% or more. First up is chewing. Yes, really. The thing is, digestion doesn't just start in your stomach. It starts in your mouth. When you chew your food thoroughly, you're doing 2 really important things. Number 1, you're mechanically breaking down your food into smaller particles, which makes it so much easier for your stomach and intestines to do their job. And number 2, you're mixing your food with saliva, which contains digestive enzymes that start breaking down carbohydrates right there in your mouth. When you don't chew enough, and most of us don't, you're basically sending huge chunks of food down to your stomach and saying, good luck with that. Your poor digestive system has to work overtime, which often leads to, you guessed it, bloating. The goal? Aim to chew each bite 20 to 30 times so that your food resembles the texture of applesauce. I know that sounds like a lot, but try it. You'll be amazed at how much it helps. Which brings me to point number 2, eating slowly and mindfully. When you eat quickly, you're swallowing a lot of air along with your food. That air has to go somewhere, and it often gets trapped in your digestive system, which causes that uncomfortable bloated feeling. But it's not just about the air. When you eat too fast, you're not giving your body time to register that it's actually full. It takes about 20 minutes for your brain to get the signal from your stomach that you've had enough food. If you're inhaling your meal in 5 minutes, you're likely overeating before your body even knows what's happening. And that's point number 3, is not overeating. Even if you're eating the healthiest, most gut-friendly foods on the planet, you're eating too much of them, you're going to feel bloated. Your stomach can only handle so much, and your digestive enzyme system can only produce so many at once. That doesn't mean you need to restrict or diet. It just means tuning into your body's hunger and fullness cues. Eat until you're satisfied, not until you're stuffed. Your belly will thank you. Psst, if you're new here, I'm Marina. I'm a holistic dietitian who spent the last 14 years helping women transform their gut health. I've worked with hundreds of women who've been told their bloating and sensitive stomachs are just normal and that they need to learn to live with it. But I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not true. Okay, now let's talk about digestive enzymes. If you've been dealing with bloating for a while, chances are you've tried them or at least considered them. And here's what you need to know. Digestive enzymes work fast, like within 30 minutes to an hour fast. So here's the reality check. If you've been taking a digestive enzyme supplement for weeks or months and you're not noticing a difference, it's probably not the right enzyme for you. Or, and this is important, it's not addressing your actual problem. A lot of people keep taking enzymes thinking, oh, maybe I just need to give it more time. But that's not how enzymes work. They're not like probiotics that need time to colonize in your gut. Enzymes work immediately to break down the food you're eating right then and there. Here's the other thing about enzymes. They're meant to be a short-term solution, not a forever Band-Aid. Taking enzymes can absolutely help you feel better in the moment, and there's nothing wrong with using them when you need them, like when you're traveling or eating a meal that's heavier than you're used to. But if you find yourself dependent on enzymes for every single meal, that's a red flag. It's your body's way of saying, hey, something deeper is going on here. And here's something that really frustrates me. The digestive enzyme that works for your friend or your favorite influencer might not do anything for you. Why? Because different enzymes break down different things. Some enzymes help with protein digestion, others with fats. Some help with carbohydrates or fiber. There are even specific enzymes for dairy, like lactate, that you might be familiar with if you're lactose intolerant. So if somebody tells you, this enzyme changed my life, that's great for them, but your bloating might be caused by something completely different than theirs. This is why working with a practitioner who will help you figure out what's wrong with your body is going to make you feel better that much sooner. It's so valuable. Now, let's talk about something that affects so many women but gets dismissed way too often: hormonal bloating. If you notice that your bloating shows up like clockwork around the same time in your menstrual cycle, usually the week or so before your period or during ovulation, there's a good chance hormones are playing a major role. Some of your hormones can slow down your gut movement. That means things move more slowly through your digestive tract, which can lead to bloating, constipation, and that general, I feel so puffy feeling. But here's what I want you to hear. Just because it's hormonal doesn't mean you have to just deal with it. I hear this all the time. Oh, it's just my hormones, nothing I can do. That's not true. When you support your body in balancing your hormones, and that includes things like reducing inflammation, supporting your liver, which processes hormones, by the way, and addressing nutrient deficiencies, that hormonal bloating often improves dramatically or even goes away completely. So, if you suspect your bloating is hormone related, don't dismiss it. Work with a practitioner who understands that connection, because you deserve to feel good all month long, not just half the time. All right, now we need to talk about SIBO. If you don't know what SIBO is, it stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And you've been struggling with chronic bloating, there's a chance that someone has either diagnosed you with SIBO or suggested you might have it. Here's the thing that most people don't understand about SIBO. SIBO is not the root cause. It is a side effect. Let me say that again, because this is so important. SIBO is what happens when your gut is broken. It's not why your gut is broken. Think of it this way. If you have a leaky roof and water is getting into your house, the water damage is the SIBO. You could spend all of your time mopping up the water, treating the SIBO with antibiotics, but if you don't fix the roof, the water's just going to keep coming in. And speaking of antibiotics, this is where so many people get stuck. They take antibiotics for SIBO, they feel better for a few months, and then boom, the bloating comes back, often worse than before. Studies show that SIBO reoccurs in at least 40 to 45% of people within 3 to 6 months after antibiotic treatment. And personally, I've seen that rate much higher in my practice. Some studies show even higher rates because the antibiotics kill the bacteria, at best, but they didn't fix the reason why that bacteria was able to overgrow in your small intestine in the first place. Just to let you know, your bacteria is mostly supposed to be in your colon, your large intestine. Your small intestine generally is supposed to be fairly sterile in relation to your colon. So when you have this backup of bacteria into your small intestine, it's going to cause major bloating. It's like if you had ants in your kitchen because you left food out. You can spray for ants every month, or you can clean up the food and seal your counters. One is temporary, one actually solves the problem. And the antibiotics is something that you're gonna have to keep coming back to time after time. I've actually had somebody the other week who we finally got to the point where she's good to go. She graduated from working with me, and she used to have to take antibiotics for her SIBO every 3 months. She was afraid that she would eventually become resistant to the antibiotics. So that's why she came to me. And guess what? She hasn't needed the antibiotics in 9 months, and she feels better than ever. So what is the actual problem? What's that broken roof? It could be a lot of things causing the bloating. Low stomach acid, and we'll talk about that in a second. Poor migrating motor complex function. That's a fancy way to say the wave contractions that sweeps bacteria and food through your small intestine. Scarring from surgery or even endometriosis. medications that affect the movement of stuff through your gut. Chronic stress will affect your gut as well. Food sensitivities can also cause ongoing inflammation. The point is, SIBO is the messenger, not the message. And if you only treat SIBO without addressing why it happened, you're going to be stuck in a cycle of temporary relief followed by symptom return. Now, the low stomach acid, poor migrating motor complex, scarring, medications, and chronic stress, food sensitivities, those are connected to root causes, but there's still stuff that needs to be done deeper to help those. So I'm getting down to the real nitty gritty. Why do you have food sensitivities? Why do you have this chronic stress? That's what I look at. So if you're gonna just treat the SIBO, then it's just a matter of time until these symptoms come back. This brings me to one of the most common root causes of bloating that nobody talks about: low stomach acid. Your stomach is supposed to be really acidic, like scary acidic. That acid is used for breaking down proteins, activating digestive enzymes. So if you don't have enough stomach acid, you won't be able to activate your own digestive enzymes. It's crucial for killing off harmful bacteria and pathogens. So if you have low stomach acid, you're going to be more prone to getting food poisoning. Think about that. It also allows you to absorb key nutrients like B12, iron, and zinc, which are all needed to help you have a nice, calm, and balanced body. So many people have low stomach acid and they don't even know it. Why? Because the symptoms of low stomach acid can feel a lot like symptoms of high stomach acid. You might feel bloating after meals, heartburn or reflux, feeling really full after small amounts of food, and undigested food in your stool. Here's where things get really problematic. Many people with these symptoms put on acid blocking medications like PPIs, proton pump inhibitors. These medications actually reduce the stomach production even more. So if you actually have stomach acid already, now you have even less. And guess what that leads to? More bloating, more nutrient deficiencies, higher risk of SIBO, and it's a vicious cycle. It's going to most likely exacerbate your loose stools or your constipation. Now, I'm not telling you to come off of that medication. It's imperative that you figure out a way to not need that medication anymore and discuss that with your doctor once you've done the real healing. So you might be thinking, all right, so I just need to take stomach acid supplements, right? And here's where I need you to really hear me. Taking these supplements like hydrochloric acid or HCl or digestive enzymes can help in the short term, absolutely. But, and this is a big but, they're still just addressing the symptom, not the cause. Your body is designed to make stomach acid and enzymes on its own. If it's not doing that properly, we need to ask why. Why isn't your body producing enough acids? It's because of chronic stress, nutrient deficiencies, an infection, long-term medication use, aging. When we only supplement without addressing the underlying cause, we're just creating another dependency, which is going to create another problem down the road. So supplements can be incredibly helpful as part of a comprehensive plan, but they shouldn't be the only plan. 10 years ago, I was using these digestive enzymes and HCl as my first go-to to help address these problems. But over time, I've learned much more about why those imbalances exist in the first place. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, this all makes sense, but what do I actually do about it? I get it. It can feel overwhelming. And here's what I want you to understand. Getting to the root cause of your bloating is actually way more straightforward when you're working with the right person. Someone who practices functional or foundational medicine and understands that symptoms like bloating are just your body's way of asking for help. When you work with an experienced foundational practitioner, we'll create a personalized protocol that addresses your specific causes. Here's the good news. This doesn't have to be a forever thing. When you actually address the root causes, your body can heal. And I say causes because it's really never just one. There's always gonna be 2 or 3 or even more. But don't let that overwhelm you, because it's actually a lot easier to fix than you might think. Actually, people that I'm working with, they rave over and over again about how easy it is to help catapult their digestion into health. Now, your digestion can get back online. Eventually, you can go back to eating normally without needing a pharmacy of supplements or a super restrictive diet. I've seen it happen 100 times, more than 100 times. Women who've been bloated for years, who've tried everything, who've been told it's just IBS and there's nothing they can do, we get to the bottom and their bloating resolves. Sometimes in a few weeks, sometimes in a few months, but it does resolve. Okay, friends, I know this was a lot of information. Can you tell I'm passionate about it? But I hope this brought you to see that your bloating is not just something you have to live with. It's your body trying to communicate with you. And when you listen and address what's actually asking for, healing is possible. If you want more support on your gut healing journey, check out the link below and join one of my free live trainings where we dive even deeper into these topics. And remember, you deserve to feel good in your body. You deserve to eat without the fear of bloating, and you deserve a practitioner who will help you get to the bottom of what's really going on. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.